This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Rick, you're grinning from ear to ear.
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked? This is USAPrepares.com. Here we go. Your dial set correctly. We're broadcasting live 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Today, broadcasting live from the farm. Rick Miller's with us, and Rick's going to be with us today, tomorrow, through part of next week, and he will be at the Get Prepared Expo tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, and Rick's going to be at the meetup at Ziggy's, 5:30 in Springfield, Missouri. Information's on the website. So links to all of your instructors on the website, usaprepares.com. Podcasts are free on Genesis Communications Network. Just go to usaprepares.com, and you can click on the Listen to Vincent, GCN, and you can listen to podcasts or streaming audio. Alex is producing the worldwide broadcast in Minnesota. Dr. Richard Allen Miller, the real Fox Mulder of the X-Files. He wrote the first 6 episodes. He is the lead physicist for the U.S. Navy at the Pentagon. And Dr. Richard Allen Miller is a scientist. Welcome, Rick.
Good morning. Yes.
Hey, Rick, you're going to be at the Expo, and you're going to be teaching a couple seminars. Now, we're going to learn about seminar number 1. It starts at 10 o'clock, Rick. And I'm looking at the schedule. You're on first.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to just leave it open to whatever anybody wants me to talk about.
Well, actually, thinking like a Navy SEAL is the first thing that you're going to talk about.
That's the critical decision-making, power tools. That's the book ESP Induction Through Forms of Self-Hypnosis, how to think with your gut. You know, when you use the logic brain, you create possibilities of scenarios, like you could get shot if you go that way, or you could get away if you go that way. When you start to think, you create those realities, and if there's a possibility, there's a probability. However, if you work with your intuitions, there's only one thing to do, and that's always seemingly correct.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, Rick. If those in your class spend just 1 hour with you, what will they be able to think more clearly? Will they be able to give us an example of what they would?
Well,
would realize?
It's like you come to a fork in the road. Do you go right or left? And basically, you already know what you should do. What happens is when you start to think about what you should do, that's when you get in trouble. And so basically, my first talk will be to open up your eyes and the possibilities of how you might be listening to yourself differently than you currently do. Once you've started that process, then it's just practice.
So, Rick, is this a lifestyle change once we learn how to do this?
Well, it was for me, and it has been for all of my team. We basically are essentially paranormal, because when we work with intuitions, we're always correct. We're always correct. And when I say that, it's like a 3 sigma error coefficient. That means that 99.9975% probability made the right decision.
And is that what makes the Navy SEALs different from some
It's
of the...
one of the 8 protocols that we developed to take normal human beings and make them into super soldiers. And there is some effort. I mean, you have to practice. It's mostly enhancements with toys, using biofeedback, brain drivers, learning how to use a didgeridoo for continuous breathing techniques. You know, if you can control your breath, you can control your perception of time. Now, when you're boxing, if you can control your perception of time while you're boxing, imagine the precision that you can have in the way you throw a blow.
Now, does that work for other forms of combat, like martial arts?
Well, it's useful in a lot of things, like, for example, ducking something that's coming at you. You go into slow motion, like when you're in survival mode, and all of a sudden everything seemingly slows down. What's actually happening is that you have gone into an altered state of consciousness, a very specific state, which is not dysfunctional because you're still able to function correctly, but because of the breath control that you're doing, holding your breath, whatever, everything slows down in slow motion. And with that, then comes the ability to discern different detail and respond.
I'm trying to think of how we could deploy this every day.
Well, okay, you do when you go from what we call profane time into sacred. You know, sacred time is like when you're making love or you're into something you're very excited about doing. Somehow it becomes timeless, and there's no sense of time associated with or duration. It is in the moment. And if you can learn how to be in the moment, a type of flowing, if you will, everything is in harmony at that place.
So, Rick, let's say you're working on a very serious scientific experiment, okay? Critical, and whether it be critical to the nation, whether it be critical to the company that you're employed by, or your own company. Are these tools valuable in thinking more clearly, more precisely, laser honing in on whatever it is you're working on?
Yeah, it's a kind of enlightenment. It's like seeing things more clearly and with more detail. And so it's like layers of an onion. As you go down into the onion, there are more layers of awareness. And that's what we would call evolving. You know, taking personal responsibility for your own evolution of consciousness, to be able to discern a moment from moment in the way you behave and act and think.
I was thinking back to the seminar that you did, special seminar that you did on Monday following the Get Prepared Expo with the freeze-dry guy.
Yeah, I remember that. That was fun. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I was there. Let's see. Craig Douglas, our radiation expert and instructor, was there. There were a whole bunch of our instructors who were present. And I was thinking about how you brought us into a deep state of self-hypnosis. Now, a lot of people might think that this hypnosis stuff is, nonsense.
Well, back at the time I developed these in the early 70s for the Navy, you have to realize that extrasensory perception and hypnosis had a bad rap. And it's only been in recent years that hypnosis has become a powerful tool in anesthesia, with surgery like dental surgery or even forms of therapy where hypnosis can be used to help reframe or regress someone back to a time of trauma and then reframe how they experienced it so that they're not as traumatized. It's a very powerful tool now with certification, and it's actually, in fact, I believe, insurable now with Medicare and other kinds of things. It's come into the validity. Extrasensory perception is still a bit of a skepticism because most people relate to reality in the normal five senses. And so when you talk about clairvoyance, you're not actually seeing something. That is how the information information is being transferred into your conscious state of awareness. Clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairascension, all of these different ways or in terms of one of the five senses, is basically like a hallucination. And what you're really trying to do is discern what's going on inside yourself as to what you really want to be doing. And you all of us know, it's just that we haven't learned how to listen to ourselves. And that's what hypnosis allows you to do. Allows you to go down into a place where you have more focused attention on a specific thing, like why you want to go here, not there, that kind of thing.
Rick, you were at a contest.
Oh, yeah. Back in the early 70s, after I had developed the model and protocols, Duke University decided they wanted to actually confirm that my system worked or not. And so they brought in Gene Dixon, Sybil Leek, James Hurtak, Ted Pirkos, a variety of well-known psychics at that time, and did their classic study of testing all of us at one time. And I won the thing, of course, and it wasn't because I was psychic, it's because the system works. It was originally developed out of Yugoslavia. It was a Czech physicist that did that, Dr. Milan Riesel, who died, by the way, this last year. And my book, that book, ESP Induction, was actually dedicated to him and his original work out of Czechoslovakia.
So, Rick, can you tell us about this contest with Gene Dixon and the other psychics? What was how did that contest work? What were the parameters?
Well, yeah, they would do the standard card test like I did with you on the studies, where I take a baseline. What they'll do is they have one of 5 images, and you try to guess which of the 5 images there are. That means there's a 20% chance of getting the right answer.
Right.
So that if you're anything over 20% or even under, that's called psi-missing, then now you're exhibiting paranormal phenomena from statistical inference. And most of the psychics, out of a run of 20, when they did runs of 20, the average was 5. Okay, out of a run of 20. And what happened next, that means there were 4 variables, what happened next was Gene Dixon and Sybil Leek and some of the others would be up around 9, where 5 is the average, 9 or 10. And at one time, I think Gene Dixon had a 12 and so on. I didn't have a single score under 16. I was 16, 17, 18 out of 20 every time.
Dr. Richard Allen Miller is with us. I'm Vincent Finelli. We're talking about mind control. You can see him at the Expo this weekend, starting tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll be right back. I'm just looking at the news right now, and TSA is searching parked cars at airports. Not only are they in our pants, they're searching parked cars. Now, what the heck is going on with the TSA? Our government is absolutely out of control. Rick, you know, as I think about it, one of the things that we're doing at the Get Prepared Expo, it's never been done before, is Chief Cloud Pilot. Chief Cloud Pilot. I was telling you in the car last night coming back from the airport how we feel it's so important that we're all safe at the Get Prepared Expo. We want to make sure all of our guests are safe. So Chief Cloud Pilot will be he will be consecrating the convention, the Get Prepared Expo, as sacred ground. And that means that by treaty, any government employees who are on the clock, on the job, will need to apply to be present. And but, you know, I don't expect that we're going to search their cars like the TSA is doing to us. That's out of control. Rick, what do you think about that?
I think the whole thing's nuts. You know, power corrupts, and ultimate power corrupts ultimately. So, you know, the police are, you know, mostly probably trying to do the right thing. It's just interpretation of what the right thing is. And since all of us have different values, there's going to be a serious conflict there.
Yeah, I said yesterday on the air that the police are now riding around with license plate scanners that can read license plates as they drive around, and they get recorded. And so now they know not only do they have video, but they have an image of a license plate, which is translated through an index in a database as to who that car belongs to or who that car is registered to. And so now we know the timestamp of where that vehicle was through GPS. We know who the car belonged to. So now we have a pattern. Not only do we have a pattern of electric usage when we come home, and turn on our appliances when we come home from work, when we take our showers in the morning and our hot water heater kicks in, our electric hot water heater. The government knows that. They know where we're driving. They know where we shop. They know what we buy. They've got the eyes in the sky, or the drones, the satellites. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's called profiling. And once they have your profile, then they can accurately predict your behavior. And that in terms of shopping, what you're going to want to buy and why. That's what Amazon's doing now. Imagine a supercomputer compiling all of this information into a bigger perspective and how that might be used to control the populace. It's kind of scary where we're going.
It is scary. I bought some VHF radios for the Get Prepared Expo, some 4-watt radios. And now I'm getting all kinds of advertisements. I bought them through Amazon, so now I'm getting all kinds of advertisements relating to these kinds of radios. So they are tracking what I buy, what I search. It's out of control.
Yeah, they do the same thing with books. When you buy a book, they'll make suggestions on other books you might want to purchase also. And while some of that is kind of neat, because it brings in titles that you hadn't previously considered,
right, it's
also inundating you with just an incredible amount of information.
Well, we are inundated with information, and some of us are inundated with not so good information. For example, I've met some people, and I ask them where they get their news from, and they'll tell me that, they watch the TV news, and they think that's all they need. So that's sanitized. That's not the real news. That's those people think the economy's recovering.
How come nobody is reporting about what's happening in your skies right now, this morning?
Let's report about it right now, because you that's one of the things on my list to talk about today, Rick. You were on the veranda having a cup of coffee with the chickens and the cats and the dogs, and you were looking up, and you asked me. You asked me about that. No, that is not normal, Rick. It's when you come here.
They're not doing it because of me.
I realize, Rick, but seriously, the last time you were here, we had a massive crisscrossing pattern of chemtrails in the sky, and they're firing it up again today.
Well, when I was here the last time they did that, we had this terrible weather.
Let's talk about that when we come back on the other side of this break. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us. I'm Vin Finelli. We're going to the expo today. We're going to set up today, and tomorrow the vendors show up, and so did the instructors. We'll be right back. Miller's with us at the farm. We're broadcasting live from the farm high atop the Ozark Mountains here in Missouri. And last April, Rick Miller was here, and he and I were on the veranda, and we were looking out, having some coffee, looking out over the sky, and he was counting and counting and counting the crosshatch pattern in the sky. Lots and lots of chemtrails. And then we went to the expo. Rick, what was the rest of that story? Because, after we got to the expo, we didn't think much about the chemtrails.
It was warm. It was warm. It was like 70 degrees, and the chemtrails had turned into an overcast, and from the cross-hatching, and
right.
Then when we went to dinner that Monday night at that Chinese restaurant,
right,
and we started noticing that it was starting to rain.
Just a little bit of rain.
And a little bit of rain. And then the next thing you know, there was hail.
There was a torrential rain.
Well, it started with a downpour, a light rain, then a downpour, and then the hail started, and the next thing you know, it was snowing. And the target area was like a 10-mile circle, and everything outside the circle was around 70 degrees, and inside the circle, there was ice on the road to the point where there were traffic accidents everywhere. And we had to take a detour home because of that. We hit snow where the snow on the road was over 4 inches in 1 hour.
Yes, and Rick, I was I was in the truck at the time with you, and we were driving, and we have four-wheel drive, and I just brought it right into four-wheel drive immediately. And it looked like it was foggy, but the road looked...
Well, that was the heat and the steam from the heated surfaces and the ice that was falling was causing all of that, vapor.
And the accidents were obviously caused because people were driving in 70-degree weather, and they didn't expect that the road was iced with freezing rain, hail, and snow.
I've never seen anything like that. I've been all over the world. I've been everywhere, and I have never seen anything quite like that. I don't know that it was related to chemtrails. I know that the original chemtrails were to control weather at airports. That's where it all first started.
Right, good purposes. And I think they used to call that seeding the clouds.
Right, that's what it was called. Now it's something else. And actually, I have a video that I watched. I put it up on my website that actually had U.S. Forest Service out in the woods showing the damage that it was doing to the foliage, the trees. It was killing the trees.
You're talking about the chemtrails?
Yes.
The chemtrails with the aluminum compounds.
And barium. Oxide, yeah.
Yeah, and Rick, for those of us who depend on our property for our livelihoods, like my family, I resent it. I resent the fact that they're messing with Mother Nature. They're destroying our ability to earn a living. I mean,
the question I have to ask is, who's paying for this? And it's got to be extremely expensive. I mean, the aircraft, just the jet itself, and when you see 28, 34 different jets dropping off all this biomass, who's paying for that?
There's no way it could be just one. It's not like one aircraft is flying.
Oh, no. We're talking about, and it's all National Guard out of my state in Oregon. They come out of Portland, and I've been told that they're military exercises. Now, that's what I was told in Oregon. This is different than chemtrails normal. This is what we call a chaff trail, and that's what I've been noticing. After I got home, I saw on the internet a 4-state picture from space showing the cross-hatching that they had laid down on that one incident and it was like they were doing a military experiment or a study of some kind. It was, and the expense of it. How much does a jet cost to run it across the sky like that? How much does your ticket cost? And you've got 300 people in the aircraft, times all the material that they're dropping out of the back end. Who pays for all of that? What is that about?
Well, not only who pays for it, who approves it? Who approves?
Well,
those flights?
I did a quick study, and I determined that the originals was a carte blanche for insecticide companies to drop insecticides on your corn. That's where it first started. Then Gore came in.
You're talking about medflies in California?
Yeah, and in Indiana, there is a blanket law that there's no regulation at all on insecticides being dropped from aircraft like that.
Really? So I could go do that? I could go just get a little Piper Cub and just go
legally
dust my neighbor?
Possible to do that because of the way the laws are structured. It's open-ended. And so it gave insecticide companies carte blanche to drop defoliants like Agent Orange, 2,4-D, Paraquat, those kinds of things. There is a blanket law that allows that to happen. I don't think that that's what this is. This is something new.
Rick, I remember when one of our children was in public school very, very early before we took everybody out of public school. And she was in elementary school, and they had a lice problem. I guess someone came in with head lice in public school. So they fumigated the school over the weekend. Now, Monday, one of our children went in and, the child's arms were on the desk surface. And there was an immediate rash and reaction, and she wasn't the only child that had this immediate reaction. And it was due to the insecticide that was bombed inside the school building to kill the head lice.
Yeah. A lot of the schools, the older ones, also have a lot of asbestos in them. There's a lot of toxins around us. The thing is, you just almost need to be armed with information now. The global warming part, which Gore, that was the original chemtrail purpose, was to reflect sunlight back to the sun to prevent or limit global warming. But global warming is happening on Mars because it's not man-made. It's from the heliosphere. The actual heliosphere from the sun is heating up, and so you could actually say there's global warming on Mars.
Rick, let's say we actually wanted to implement some of what Al Gore wants to do, which is reduce the warming of the planet. Now, wouldn't a good thing to do be to plant more trees and to not pave roads with black asphalt and not use black roofing material?
Well, that's a good place to start. How about logging the Amazon? That's a good place to start.
Yeah, why don't we knock off the destruction of our planet rather than these temporary attempts at
yeah, but here's
mitigation.
The deal. The problem is, if it isn't man-made, and you're going to try to change the act of God, the sun,
tough.
How do you do that when it isn't even about the gamma rays? There was a pole reversal and other kinds of things that happened back in March when the heliosphere dragged through deep space, encountered some ionized trails of ions, and they created a friction, back pressure that reversed our magnetic fields for almost 6 hours. The media never even reported it.
Nope.
You won't find anything in the media about what's going on today. And I find, looking up in your sky, this to be extremely newsworthy and odd.
We're getting emails here at USA Prepares, Rick, for the last couple of days that the weather that normally travels from the west coast to the east coast is going backwards right now, going from the east to the west. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, what's happening is our currents are changing, just like they did in Europe. They used to have 7 indexes on the different currents in Europe, and now it's down to 4, and now they're saying there's only a single current now in Europe out of 7 different original currents.
John Moore has been talking about this for years, and he's been at every one of our Get Prepared Expos, and he's going to be at this one too. And he's been talking about what he terms violent climate change. And he doesn't call it global warming. He calls it violent climate change. And I'll tell you, Rick, if you look at what happened to us driving from the Chinese restaurant in Lebanon, Missouri, in the evening of the Get Prepared Expo number 5, back to the farm, that's violent climate change, from 70 degrees to hail.
That was something that I would have said is paranormal, and in my earlier years would have been on it like stink on shit. I wanted to, exactly what happened and why. That I've never seen anything quite like that. And it's interesting because I'm seeing the chemtrails again today, just like I was when I was here before. Is this something that's happening all the time, or is it just when I'm here?
Well, Rick, seriously, I said, when we were out on the veranda this morning, I said, no, Rick, it only happens when you're here. It's not like this. It really isn't. Our skies do not have the chemtrails. We just don't. I see them on the internet from other places, but not here. Now, they're here. And I can't help but think.
Let's see what the weather does tonight and see
tomorrow.
if there's a relation. Yeah, and a relationship to these unusual, because when I came in yesterday, there were no chemtrails. I didn't see any chemtrails when I came in yesterday.
Right. Nothing in the sky.
Yeah, but today...
You hardly even see a contrail.
Yeah. If you go outside, you'll see it. It's everywhere, and it's going to create a haze that appears like clouds, but they're not. They're not real clouds.
It's turned into a haze. I just went out during the break, Rick. I went out on the veranda to take a look, and it's a haze now. And you can see the remnants of some of the chemtrails, but it's turned into a haze.
Yeah, that's the chaff that's twirling. And imagine where that's going on your forest.
I really don't like it. I don't like the fact that they're using our money to do it.
Well, it's aluminum. It's barium oxide, and it's impregnated in plastic, and none of that. It's extremely toxic.
Right. And Rick, fish. We see fish kills. We see trees dying.
Yeah.
And what about our food supply? Okay, it's going into the ground. We're planting corn. We're planting wheat. We're planting soybeans.
Oh yeah, well it's in our food chain now. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. In fact, some of that is what I will be talking about in the second hour with you on the weaponization of our food system. They're using foods now as weapons.
Yeah, class, what Rick is talking about is tomorrow night, starting at 4 o'clock, we open for our guests at the Get Prepared Expo, Lebanon, Missouri. Information's on the website, usaprepares.com. And from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, Mike Knox is on. He's going to be talking about genetically modified seeds and then comparing those to heirloom seeds. And then Rick's on stage for an hour, and he's going to talk about food as a weapon. Then we're going to have the Survival Banquet Dinner, the Free Strike Ice Coach. Richard Allen Miller's with us, and we're talking about chemtrails, and we're talking about the serious effects of chemtrails, and we're talking about how the weather has these violent climate changes. Rick, John Moore has talked to our guests at the Get Prepared Expo. He's been on the radio with us, and he mentioned that in Europe, their infrastructure, their plumbing systems are buried just a few inches below the surface of the earth. And here in Missouri, we will bury our pipes down 24 to 30 inches to make sure.
Well, that's your frost lines, right?
Yeah, right, that's our frost line. So we want to make sure that the water from our well doesn't freeze in the pipes during the winter, and so in England they don't do that. But because the currents have changed because of violent climate change, they are now experiencing freezing and bursting of pipes in their infrastructure. Very, very serious. So, these pipes just don't show up instantly. They're buried over time, evolution of our infrastructure, if you will. So England, Scotland, Ireland is in a lot of trouble in terms of infrastructure being exposed to weather that would cause these pipes to burst. They didn't expect this to happen, Rick.
Well, it's going to continue to happen, too, because the weather is changing. There is absolutely no question about that.
Rick, one of the things that I'd like to talk about the next hour is there's a head of state who will remain nameless, a head of state. And this person is someone that every baby boomer alive, I believe, will recognize the name of this person and know exactly what country this person is from. One of our usaprepares.com instructors was instrumental at saving this man's life, at saving this woman's life.
Yeah, you don't want to give it away.
I don't want to give it away. And so she was dying of cancer and was right at death's door. So he was very close to death. And our usaprepares.com instructor spent weeks working on gaining access to this person's doctor, and through a treatment recommended by one of us, this head of state is still alive.
I think that's really interesting that there are forms of cancer treatment that are not allowed in the United States. Mm-hmm. I think that's interesting and demonstrates the awesome power of the pharmaceutical houses today in their control of our medicine.
That's exactly right. And now, at the Get Prepared Expo, which will start tomorrow at 4 o'clock, let's just, Rick, let's go through some of the schedule. Now, at 10 o'clock, well, let's do it this way. Let me start with Friday. At Friday, now the Get Prepared Expo is at the Cowan Civic Center, C-O-W-A-N, Civic Center, in Lebanon, Missouri, L-E-B-A-N-O-N, Missouri. Now, if you'd like to attend, the tickets will be $8 online. You can buy them online at getpreparedexpo.com or usaprepares.com. Either way, you'll end up at the same website. And you can click on Shop or Store, the tab, and you can buy your tickets for $8 a day or 3 days for $18. If you'd like to pay at the door, it's $10. $10 a day at the door. And so tomorrow night at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Mike Knox will be on stage, and he'll be doing a seminar, and there'll be about 250, capacity for 250. It's going to be a small seminar. And he's going to teach us about genetically modified seeds and the dangers that we're exposed to with them as compared with heirloom seeds. Now, heirloom seeds would be nature's finest. And then Rick Miller's going to be on stage, and he's going to be talking about food as a weapon. And then we're going to have a freeze-dry guy banquet meal. When we come back right after the top of the hour news and break, we'll talk more about the schedule for the expo and what you will learn. I'm Vincent Finelli. Dr. Richard Allen Miller, the Real Fox Mulder's with us. This is usaprepares.com. We'll be right back. Tell you more about the expo and what you can expect.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is usaprepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@usaprepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Hour number 2, usaprepares.com. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's at the farm with me. We're broadcasting live from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Today we're broadcasting live from the farm. And Dr. Joel Wallach is with us. Dr. Joel Wallach, good to have you with us.
Well, thank you, sir. Always good to be with you, Vincent.
Okay. Hey, Dr. Wallach, kind of wild here. We had a temporary setup so that we could broadcast live here. And Richard Allen Miller's with us. This is going to be, wow, this is probably your fourth expo, isn't it?
It's our fourth, yes. We're very excited to be with you guys. There's no better time to be prepared than now. The economic collapse, the medical collapse, the industrial collapse. I mean, everything's collapsing, so let's get prepared.
You are right on. And not Dr. Wallach, not everybody believes that that the collapse is here already. They don't. They believe the news. They think that the economy is rebounding and the stock market is at records right this minute. The stock market has hit record numbers, but they don't realize that this is all artificially induced. And the reality is that you really need to have customers in order to have valid stock prices and company valuations. So now you're going to be teaching us, you're going to be doing several seminars, and we're going to be able to meet you face-to-face, talk to you one-on-one in between the seminars, and you're going to be teaching us what? Please share that with us.
Okay, well, basically, all of the diseases that the medical system and the government has taught us that afflict people are genetically transmitted. In fact, there's simple nutritional deficiencies, and simple ones like arthritis. I can show people how to prevent arthritis, and if you get bone-to-bone arthritis, I can show you how to rebuild cartilage. And orthopedic surgeons say, oh, no way, you can't rebuild cartilage. The only thing left for you is joint replacement. I'll show you how to rebuild cartilage in 90 days. I always say, give me 90 days, and I'll show you how to do it. And then people who have high blood pressure, I'll show you how to get rid of high blood pressure. Type 2 diabetes is a simple mineral deficiency disease. We've known that for 70 years. Nobody should suffer from diabetes, die early, or have the complications of blindness and lose your feet and legs to gangrene. Well, that's totally unnecessary. And then we'll talk about arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. We're the number one obese nation in the world, for goodness sakes. Even though we spend more money for health care than all the other nations of the world combined. We're 92nd in healthiness. We're 60th in longevity. God forgive us, Vincent. We're 41st in live births and first month survivability of our babies. That's because the medical system, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and just assume they're ignorant here, and they have the false belief because they've been taught that all these diseases are genetically transmitted. And I have the advantage on them in that I have a degree in agriculture. I'm a veterinarian. I am a comparative pathologist. And all my projects combined, I've done over 30,000 autopsies on over 454 species of animals, including humans, some totally 8,000 humans, 1,700 kids under the age of 10. Went back to school, became a naturopathic physician, so I could get this information out to the general public. I really appreciate our relationship and the ability to share two interested people who come to the Prepare expos. It's just really a great bunch of people. We've really enjoyed them over the years, and they're picking up the handle, if you will, and they're joining an army to educate America, and we're going to save America together, and I really appreciate what you've done, Vincent.
And Dr. Wallach, I want to share something with you. I picked up Dr. Richard Allen Miller last night at the airport, and he and I and Dr. Patrick Vickers had dinner, and we were out pretty late, and we were up late last night, and I was a little tired, and Rick's across the studio from me. He said, "Vinny, you're kind of not yourself. You're you're not firing on all cylinders." So I said, "You're right. So I said, "I'll be right back. You want some supplements?" And so I ran down to the kitchen during the break. And I'm not kidding. And I got my tangy tangerine, literally, and mixed it up, drank it, and I perked right up.
Well, you're starting to anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's because I hadn't had it in the morning. I didn't take it this morning as I normally do. So here I am, and I've got it in the studio with me, and I've got the container of it. But what I'm saying is, I can feel a difference. I really can, and it's been about maybe 15 minutes. So
yeah, it doesn't take long.
Is that about right?
You give the body the raw materials, and you respond very quickly. We have several million people using the program right now. It's growing very rapidly because when you lose your insurance or your insurance gets too expensive, you don't want to use it anymore, and you have to. Suddenly now people, instead of saying to the doctor, "Well, yeah, okay, go ahead and give me the 2 hips, give me the 2 knees," they're saying, "I'm not going to refi my house for $80,000 to get a double hip replacement. I can spend $3 to $5 a day, depending on my body weight, and regrow my cartilage, get my blood pressure under normal levels, and I don't need medication. Get rid of my diabetes, get rid of the gangrene in my feet, so I don't have to have my legs cut off. If I'm blind with macular degeneration, in 90 days I can see 20/20 again." These are all things we teach people to do, and we'll have plenty of books and products there at the show.
Yeah, Dr. Wallach is going to be with us. Expo, this will be his 4th Get Prepared Expo. We're going to be in Lebanon, Missouri at the Cowan Civic Center. If you'd like tickets, $8 a day, discounted online, usaprepares.com, $10 a day at the door. And Dr. Wallach, I have made this claim on the air, and I'll say it again. I guarantee that if this is not one of your 10 most memorable life events coming to the Get Prepared Expo, I will give you your money back, and I'll be delighted to do it. I'll be shocked. I'll be, more than happy to give you your money back because I don't want anybody to ever be unhappy, and no one has ever been unhappy. Dr. Wallach, Seriously, can you imagine someone coming to the Get Prepared Expo and seeing the things that we do, meeting the who's who, absolutely the who's who of preparedness and survival, being disappointed with what they've seen? Seriously.
Absolutely not. I'm just thrilled to be a part of the group you pulled together. As you say, everybody there who's speaking is a world expert. Everybody who has a booth there are world experts, and they have so many wonderful products that are going to help our community survive. When Charles Darwin, Vincent, talked about the survival of the fittest, it included physiology, physical attributes, but also decisions. The people who make the right decisions, their bloodlines, their genetic lines will survive. The people who make incorrect decisions or do not know how to take action their lines will not survive.
Well, last night we were having dinner, Dr. Richard Allen Miller and I and Dr. Patrick Vickers, who drove up from Mexico to be with us. We're having dinner in Lebanon. And Dr. Patrick Vickers is so looking forward to meeting you because he's been reading about you, hearing about you for years and years and years. And he's really looking forward to meeting you. So
I look forward to meeting you. We're a great time.
We're talking about you. All good stuff, of course. All good stuff. Dr. Wallach, let me give out Brandy Brogdon's number. So if anyone wants to get a jump start on getting some of the supplements that they might need, 615-389-7733. 615-389-7733. 615-389-7733. And if you want to see the results, or if you want to hear the results, go listen to the first hour of this broadcast, was Vinny was kind of dragging, and compare it to right now. Seriously. So, Dr. Wallach, 2 seminars. And, I want to tell you, we did get a complaint about you at Ziggy's. The owner, I was talking about this last night at dinner. The owner of Ziggy's said, that guy that you have here that talks about health, he yells. and I and this was the owner of Ziggy's telling me this. And I said, yeah, that's right. And he said, well, he yells. And I said, yes, he does, and I'm not going to say a word about it. And it's going to keep going on because I am not. Well, see, here I am mentioning it to you. But I told the owner of Ziggy's that that's the way it is. That's who you are. I said you're a world-class doctor and a veterinarian, and we're going to let you do what you do because you do it so well. So if you say to the class, when your doctor tells you to do such and such, you tell him no. I'm not going to. I'm not going to change that.
Well, it wakes everybody up. Yeah.
That's why we got rid of England, because we wanted to be free.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think we're going to have to do it again.
It appears so.
Yeah. So are you in town right now?
Oh, yes,
are you?
Yeah, Brandy and I both are in town,
okay.
And we are locked, loaded, fired up, and ready for this expo. This is going to be the best. We have so much new material. We are going to go crazy at this thing, and with your help, we are going to save America.
Well, that really is the plan, Dr. Wallach, because there are so many of us who are not well. We're going to teach people how to eat better. We're going to teach them about avoiding genetically modified foods. And tomorrow night we're going to have a survival banquet dinner. You, Rick Miller, Patrick Vickers, so many of our instructors are going to be there, and the class is going to get a chance. The guests are going to get a chance. The exhibitors are going to get a chance, and the other instructors are going to get a chance to meet who we are. And we are reversing diseases, Dr. Wallach. It's absolutely true. And you had taught me that I needed to take de-stress, and I've got it right here in the studio with me. I take it every day, and you told me that it would help my vision, and because I spend a lot of time behind the monitors when I'm not on the tractor, and it absolutely works. So I want to share with the class that what you're talking about is absolutely, positively true. This is not, let me say it a different way. This is not a commercial. This is an endorsement of the products absolutely working. My mom is off her meds except for one, and I don't take any meds, and Mrs. Finelli doesn't take any meds, and I believe it's because of diet and supplements. And I think Dr. Shealy said my body mass index is in the 21s, so I'm healthy, and it's because I eat well, and Dr. Joel Wallach is really healthy too, and you're going to get a chance to see it firsthand at the Get Prepared Expo. Dr. Wallach, thanks so much for phoning in.
Hey, thank you, Vincent. God bless you. See you at the event.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Broadcasting live from the farm today, high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. We're talking about the expo. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's in the studio with me. Vinny's perking up. He had his tangy tangerine from Dr. Wallach's supplements and Kyani Nitro Extreme. And Dr. Shealy recommends that, and he's perking right up. And we've got John Reagan, USAPrepares.com instructor. John Reagan's with us. He's the author of The Financial State of the Union. John Reagan, you're going to be at the Get Prepared Expo this weekend.
Yes, this is your captain speaking, and I want to express my appreciation for being on the earth, Ricky Rocket. He makes me appear almost normal.
That name is going to haunt me forever.
Well, my mom refers to Dr. Richard Allen Miller as Ricky Rocket. Now, Ricky, you told us that that's how your dear friends refer to you. So what would you expect us to call you?
Well, no, the reason I got called the Rocket Man was because I talk fast, but
that's true.
I'm slowing down now with old age.
So, John Reagan, what are we going to learn from you at your seminar? You're going to be with us for you're going to be with us all Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
That's right.
There you go.
We've talked about there's really no way to avoid the financial collapse, and I think what points that out is I found out, in fact, it was after the last expo, just how much we make in national income, both business and personal, and that's approximately $10 trillion a year for 2012. Given the current rate that government spending, federal, state, and local levels, if we stopped borrowing and printing money, it would require a 67% tax rate with no deductions or exclusions just to pay for government. And if we want to keep from getting further in the hole, we also have to pay for interest on our nearly $60 trillion in public and private debt, as well as the unfunded liabilities for the social insurance programs. So just to keep things level, we need about 200% of income, and it's just not possible.
John Reagan, yesterday, Ben Bernanke stated that he was asked, is he printing money? And he said, no, not literally. Now, we know that the Treasury actually prints the currency, but he really did indicate that he is printing digits, didn't he?
Well, we don't even have to print them anymore. We just walk up to the computer and punch in some numbers.
Yeah, that's what I mean by printing digits. Yes, it's keystrokes. It's literally keystrokes. And I'll tell you what, I can't do it, John Reagan. I know Ricky Rocket can't do it. We can't go to our keyboards and say, shoot, we got some bills here. What a nuisance it is to pay them. Okay, so electric bill, 84.00, enter, done. Okay, paid that one. And creating that transaction out of thin air or based on debt that the future generations will have to pay. But they can't because we're going into a default, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah. So, John Reagan, let me ask you this, John. I mean, you've got some great humor in. I mean, I'm thinking back to the meetups that we have with you. You've got great humor in your presentations. Other than the humor, you wiped a smile off everybody's face.
Hey, it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it.
Well, that's because you speak the facts. And, John, when you do your PowerPoint presentation and you actually show the numbers and you show the spreadsheets and you show the graphs, and they're very easy to follow, once you see that, it's oh, man, we are absolutely financially doomed. There's no question to it. So, or no question about it. So, yeah. Hey, I'm really looking forward to seeing you at the Get Prepared Expo. And, John, what can you describe? We've got maybe 2 minutes left before the break, and then Judy Dollarhite's going to be on with us. Can you describe what this expo is like for someone who has not been to one?
Oh, boy. First off, when you get there and you get the schedule of who's speaking, you realize you need to clone yourself real fast because there's no way you can cover everything. There's so much to learn, so much to do. It's the place to be.
John, one of the things that you do in between seminars is you meet and greet. Have you ever seen anyone disappointed or unhappy or leave angry based on their expectations for learning at the Get Prepared Expo?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, there you go. John Reagan, thanks so much. Hey, we'll see you at the expo. I'm looking forward to getting a big hug. John Reagan, USAPreparedness.com instructor. He's going to teach us about the economy. Ricky Rocket's with us in the studio. Judy Dollarhite's coming up, and she's going to be telling us about her seminar. I'm Vincent Finelli. We've got instructors on hold, and I just want to tell you, I've been getting phone calls during the broadcast. If you're trying to buy online tickets and you feel that you're not going to be sent them in time, that is not the case. Just buy your online tickets, print off the email that you get as a result of buying your online tickets, and bring that with you. Your tickets will be waiting for you at the Get Prepared Expo. We will exchange your email receipt for your tickets, okay? So, and by the way, even if something goes wrong, we'll have a list of what you bought, and we're going to believe you anyway. So if you say you bought certain things, we're going to believe you. We're not going to challenge you. So you can buy your tickets, save the money. Don't worry. We will have the records of your purchases at the Get Prepared Expo. With us right now is Judy Dollarhite. Judy Dollarhite, welcome to USAPreparedness.com.
Hi, Van. Good to be with you.
Hey, I'm so glad you're here. So you're gonna be teaching. Oh boy, you went head to head. You and your husband, John Dollarhite, both of you are USAPreparedness.com instructors. You went head to head with the federal government. They wanted more. They wanted multiple lives savings from you because you raised rabbits.
That's correct.
Yeah, and you're the author of Going Down the Multi-Million-Dollar Rabbit Hole. Can you tell us briefly what that's about?
Basically, it tells you our story of how we initially went to USDA to find out what the rules and regulations were for raising meat rabbits, only to find out there's not any. Later in our endeavor, we switched from meat rabbits to pet rabbits, totally unaware that those were highly regulated. In fact, anything that's deemed a pet, even a rat, is highly regulated by USDA. So the wrath came down upon us. The fines could have been as high as $6.19 million, and that was kind of the bullet to the forehead that we got when we opened a certified registered letter from them. And the book gives a chronological explanation of our journey. We finally survived. Obviously, we're still here and we're still speaking out, but the book gives the do's and don'ts of what not to do with USDA.
Judy Dollarhite, you're going to have the books available at the expo. Will you autograph them, personalize them?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what is the cost of your book?
It's
$15. Okay, class. So if you'd like to learn more about what happens when the USDA applies their full force and weight of these nondescript minions, and they show up at your property, and they're demanding blood money, the Dollarhite family stood them down. It went all the way to U.S. Congress. They fought them every step of the way. They did not back down. And that's what we expect you to do. And we're going to teach you about, well, you can do it too. You can stand your ground. That's who we are at USAPreparedness.com. We don't back down. We don't back down. Let me say it a different way. We don't back down. So, Judy, also, we're going to be talking about water purification. You're going to be helping us at USA Prepares. You're going to teach people about Berkey water. Isn't that right?
That's correct. I'll be working the Berkey booth along with Elizabeth Brown. Elizabeth will be giving the seminar, and I've seen her presentation, and you won't be disappointed. She has lots of information on the importance of water and the effectiveness of the Berkey. Nothing compares to the Berkey water filtration system, so I highly encourage folks to attend her seminar and stop by our booth.
Yeah, there are pallets and pallets of Berkey water filters, and if you want to buy them and take them home, you certainly may. You certainly may, and you will not be disappointed at the price. I guarantee that. I cannot tell you the price. I cannot tell you the price. I've signed an agreement that I would not. If you ask us the price, we will tell you, and you will be impressed. Guarantee it. So, Judy Dollarhite, I'm so glad you called, and thank you and your husband, John. He takes care of our sound equipment, and you guys do a great job. And thank you for getting those electric-powered, what would you call them? Those glow-in-the-dark, what are they called? They're not a smock, Judy. They are a what?
Those are kind of construction worker type vests. So
yeah, vest.
If you're
looking
for someone that's with USA Prepares, if you need direction to a booth or information, we will be in a neon yellow. You can't miss us. We stand out. So any of those folks wearing those vests will be a USA Prepares person.
Yeah, Judy called me one day. She said, "Hey, Vinny, we can get these vests, and they're really good, and we'll be able to be seen at the Get Prepared Expo. We will stand out. They are on sale, and so would you like me to buy everyone in the store?" And I said, "Please do," and she did. And your mom tailored them for us, so we're gonna we're gonna look like construction workers with brand new vests. And I'll tell you what, you'll be able to see us day or night, no question about it. Bright yellow. And if you want to buy your tickets online, please do. Don't worry about getting them in the mail, because you're getting them today and the expo starts tomorrow. Don't worry about that. You just print your receipt from your printer, and you get an email. Print your receipt, and you will just bring that with you, and we will swap those for the tickets. The tickets will be lanyards that you hang around your neck with a ticket, and it will say whether it's a Friday to Saturday, Sunday ticket, a Saturday ticket, or a Sunday ticket. 3-day pass, $18 online. I suggest you get it, and I suggest you come to the meetup dinner. Judy, can you tell us what do you think about these meetup type dinners that we have with the instructors? Would you say that it's worth going to?
I'm never disappointed. I always learn so much, and the instructors, the variety of instructors, anything from master gardening to health issues to energy-efficient homes, the list goes on and on. I'm never disappointed.
World-class instruction. Judy Dollarhite, thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Judy Dollarhite's going to be with us at the Get Prepared Expo. You're going to get a chance to see her. She's a teacher, so she's been a teacher for a long time, and she teaches from an educational perspective. She wants her students to learn. So you're going to learn a lot from Judy Dollarhite. Rosie from Missouri, you're on with us at usaprepares.com. Dr. Richard Allen Miller and we're broadcasting right here from the farm.
Hi, Vince. I've got a pink hard hat to go with those vests.
You have what?
I have a pink hard hat to go with those vests.
Hey, Rosie, you wear a hard hat sometimes, don't you?
Only on commercial jobs.
Yeah, there you go. And Rosie, you are a finished carpenter, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And you've been to a lot of our meetups. And Rosie, can you tell us what you're expecting to see at the Get Prepared Expo?
Everything. There's anything and everything that has to do with survival. It is so. The last one that we had was the first one that I went to, and I wish that I would have known about it a long time ago, because the seminars are great. The junk man is awesome. I love him. I got some of his DVDs. Mm-hmm. But I got to tell you, the most thing that I'm proud of myself for doing was I got my name on the Bug Eaters book. And let me tell you, they taste like peanuts.
The Bug Eaters book, so you did it,
I know. If I have to have a high-protein diet and I run out of food, them bugs, just cook them in a pan and they taste like peanuts.
Yeah,
it's not something I would do unless I absolutely had to. But, yeah, the seminars were great. I cannot
Marjorie Wildcraft brought one of her friends who was frying up some bugs in butter right at the Get Prepared Expo. I'm afraid we won't have the opportunity to do that this particular expo. Actually, I kind of feel good about that, because I know Marjorie would come up to me and say, "Hey, Vinny, come on, it's time to eat these bugs." And so I won't have that opportunity this time, because Marjorie Wildcraft. No, she really wanted me to. She wanted me to try some of these bugs, and But fortunately for me, I was always occupied, and I didn't do it. No.
Yeah. Well, I was occupied, too, and I made it a point to go over there. And another woman, I didn't want to eat the whole sample, so another woman standing beside me, which I didn't know, she wanted to try them, so we shared out of my cup. And she was brave enough to do it, and they're not, I got over that fear.
Uh-huh.
But I got to tell you, the seminars were awesome, Vince. I mean, they give you so much information, and I wish all those people had more time to show what they know.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. So what we did, Rosie, this time was we cut it down from 83 seminars, running as many as 7 and 8 at a time, to 54 seminars, and we're running them 4 at a time. So fewer choices, and that's actually a good thing. It really is. It's not like we're cutting down the content. We'll have those seminars at other expos, but there's so much we need to know, and there's so much we need to know so quickly that, and that was a big problem. I mean, people would say, I can't go to them all, what do I do? And I go, well, I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you, because there are just too many seminars.
Yeah,
so,
there were several that I wanted to go see at the same time that I wanted to see this one. That one was going on, and it will help. I'll be able to see more this time.
Well, let me ask you this: Dr. Richard Allen Miller's at the farm with us right now. We're broadcasting live from the farm, and he is going to be at the meetup on Monday. What do you think that's going to be like? Do you remember how people ask about him and talk about him at the meetups when he's not there?
Yes, I do.
You think it's going to be a hoot or what?
Oh, I love it. The meetups are just great. They're very educational. Like I said, I wish I would have known about these meetups a long time ago. I would have started going from day one. They're well worth it. I look forward to it. That's my Monday. I look forward. I revolve all schedules around you.
Hey, Rosie, I really appreciate the call. Hey, thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow night at the Survival Banquet Dinner, and I'll see you Saturday and Sunday at the seminars. Thanks for being with us here at usaprepares.com. Coming up, Jim Stafford. Jim Stafford is on the line, and I'm sure he's got some comments about the Get Prepared Expo. I'm Vincent Finelli. We're talking about the Get Prepared Expo. That is starting tomorrow, Friday at 4 o'clock, Saturday and Sunday. GetPreparedExpo.com. Also, usaprepares.com. Rick and I will be back in just a minute. Class, very interesting. Web traffic is way up. And looking at the ranking of this broadcast, there are a lot of people, almost record numbers, very close to our highest numbers ever in listeners of this particular broadcast. It must have something to do with the Get Prepared Expo and the 100 and something plus people per day who are requesting that we be friends on Facebook. So if you're interested, Vincent Finelli, full name Vincent space Finelli, and we can be friends on Facebook. Okay, I just want to let you know, right now there's a woman who is cancer-free. She underwent chemotherapy after a false diagnosis. Her life is destroyed. Now, why would you do that? Okay, if your doctor says that you've got cancer and you're going to die, obviously you panic. Well, I'd like to suggest that you consider meeting Dr. Patrick Vickers. He will be at the Get Prepared Expo. He's in town right now. He's in Lebanon, Missouri right now. I'm going to see him this afternoon. Ricky and I are going to the expo to check for the setup and the broadcast, live broadcast tomorrow. He'll be with us for the entire Get Prepared Expo. I suggest if you have cancer or a loved one, you meet him. I'm serious. He has the Gerson therapy, and he is reversing cancer and other diseases at a success rate of up to 65%. And the ones he gets are the ones where people are told to get their affairs in order, go home, you're going to die. Those are the ones he starts with. So If you've been diagnosed, I suggest that you consider meeting him at the Get Prepared Expo. Information's on the website, usaprepares.com. If you can't afford it, I'll buy you a ticket. With us right now, Jim Stafford. Jim Stafford, you're with me, and Dr. Richard Allen Miller.
How doing, Vince?
Hey, are you coming to the expo?
Yes, we're planning to go with the group at the departing from the health food store parking lot, as our vehicle is down right now.
Okay, so you're going to meet and you're going to take a whole carload?
Well, I hope to, if there's a space available, to ride with someone, or I've invited several people, one of which I just recommended on Facebook, so we'll see. We'll be working
well,
the
Tell you what, Tony Pache at Down to Earth Foods, he's on the website. He's putting a ride share program together. So if you'd like to contact him, let me see if I can get his number. And here's his store number. If you'd like to call 417-501-1054, 417-501-1054 in Springfield, Missouri. That's Tony Pache. If you'd like the ride, to work out a ride share program with, he's built one, 417-501-1054. So, Jim, I really appreciate it.
Roger that. We've been in contact with him.
Great. Hey, thanks so much for calling. I've got other callers. Anything else you want to say very quickly?
Just very quickly, I was been thinking since the dinner meetup at Ziggy's, what would be most useful to mention during the show here, and occurs to me that there might be some survivalist situations where one might wonder, am I emitting RF radiation? Can someone with signal equipment find me if I'm not emitting visible light? And the one thing I have from my career with the Signal Corps is a small AM/FM radio. Tune it on the AM band, tune between stations where there's no signal. And if you wonder if your vehicle or equipment is emitting, come from, say, 10 paces away and approach your equipment in an operating or standby state and listen carefully. And if your equipment is emitting a traceable signal, you will notice it generally. And
that's a really good point. Excellent point. Excellent point. We should talk more about that on the broadcast. Jim, thanks so much for calling. I've got Ken. Ken, you're on with me. Got to go really fast, Ken. We've got 10 seconds.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to have a wild, exciting weekend, get out to Lebanon to the Callion Center and come to the USA Prepare Expo.
I take it you've been to some. Hey, Ken, thanks so much for calling. I appreciate it. Dr. Richard Allen Miller, you got any final thoughts?
No, I'm just looking forward to meeting everybody again this year. Hey,
Rick, also, we're going to have the opportunity for a special seminar on Sunday, 4 hours with you, and possibly Monday if the guests would like it. So we'll talk more about that live on the air tomorrow. Class, if you'd like to stay longer to meet Rick Miller, serious training, it's possible. Above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is we'll see you at the expo.